You've been told love is a feeling? It isn't. It's a biological requirement, as real as food or water. And in 1958, a scientist proved it by taking that requirement away from baby monkeys, one at a time, and watching exactly what happened when it disappeared. His name was Harry Harlow. And what he found didn't just change psychology, it broke it. Before Harlow, the leading theory of love was embarrassingly simple. Babies love their mothers because mothers feed them. That's it. Psychologists called it cupboard love. Behaviorists like John Watson had spent decades insisting affection was dangerous, even unscientific. Watson himself warned parents, never hug your children, shake their hand in the morning like a business transaction. Food was the only thing that mattered. Harlow thought that was insane, and he decided to prove it. In 1958, at the University of Wisconsin, Harlow built 2 fake mothers. Surrogates, he called them. The first was bare wire mesh, fitted with a bottle of warm milk. The second was soft terry cloth, wrapped around a wooden frame, warm to the touch. It offered no food at all. He took newborn rhesus monkeys, separated them from their real mothers within hours of birth, and placed them alone in a cage with both. If cupboard love was correct, the babies should have bonded with the wire mother. She was the one keeping them alive. They didn't. The infants drank from the wire mother when they had to, then ran straight back to the cloth mother, clinging to her up to 18 hours a day. When Harlow introduced something frightening, a mechanical toy, a loud noise, the babies didn't run to the food. They ran to the thing that felt like something. Only once they were calm against the cloth did they dare look back at whatever scared them. Comfort wasn't a bonus. It was the whole point. But Harlow wasn't finished. He wanted to know what happened when comfort disappeared entirely. So he built a second experiment. Newborn monkeys raised in total isolation. No mother, cloth, or wire, no other monkeys, no touch of any kind. Just a bare steel chamber, food, water, and silence. For the first few weeks, almost nothing seemed wrong. Then the behavior started. The monkeys began rocking for hours, alone in the corner of the cage. They clutched their own bodies, arms wrapped around themselves, as if trying to be their own mother. Some bit their own skin until they bled. Others stared at nothing for so long researchers thought they'd gone deaf. Here's the part that's hard to hear. When Harlow reintroduced these monkeys to others, most didn't know what to do. They didn't play. They didn't fight back. They didn't mate. Some females, when they eventually gave birth, ignored their babies completely. A few attacked them. They hadn't just missed out on affection. Something in them had failed to develop at all. Harlow had a phrase for the worst cases. Emotional death. The body kept living. Everything that made it a functioning social animal had already stopped. The response to publishing this was not gratitude. It was outrage. Critics called the isolation work cruel, and they were right. Even Harlow later admitted it disturbed him, but the data was undeniable, and it landed exactly when psychology needed it most. Hospitals at the time were unknowingly running a version of the same experiment on human infants. Sterile nurseries. Minimal contact. Don't pick them up too much or you'll spoil them. Babies who were fed, warm, and medically cared for were still wasting away, sometimes dying, and no one could explain why. Psychiatrist John Bowlby had been arguing, based on children separated from families in World War II, that consistent physical closeness wasn't a preference. It was biological necessity. Colleagues had dismissed it as sentimental. Harlow's monkeys made it impossible to dismiss any longer. Within a decade, skin-to-skin contact for newborns became standard practice in maternity wards worldwide. Every time a nurse places a newborn on a mother's chest instead of a nursery crib, that's Harlow's monkeys, still shaping medicine, 70 years later. Here's the popular reading of this experiment, the one in every psychology textbook. Harlow proved babies need love, not just food. Comfort matters. Simple. A little obvious in hindsight. But that's not what the isolation chambers actually proved. That's the easy half. The isolated monkeys didn't just miss out on love, they lost the ability to process the world at all. Without another body to orient around, their entire social nervous system stayed unbuilt, like a house with the frame up and nothing wired inside. It wasn't that they were sad. A piece of what makes a mammal simply never switched on. And here's what almost nobody mentions. The damage had a clock on it. Monkeys isolated for the first 3 months could sometimes recover, slowly, with intensive intervention. Monkeys isolated 6 to 12 months almost never did. There was a window. Once it closed, it stayed closed. Human infants have a version of that window too. Researchers studying children adopted out of severely neglectful Romanian orphanages in the 1990s found the same pattern. Children adopted before 6 months largely caught up, developmentally and emotionally, to children raised in normal homes. Children adopted after that point often carried lasting effects, no matter how loving their new families were. The wire mother was never the point. Neither was the cloth. The point was a window in early life where a nervous system either learns what safety feels like from another living body, or it doesn't learn it at all, and something in it closes permanently. You've been told love is a feeling. Something that happens to you, optional, a nice-to-have layered on top of survival. Harlow's monkeys tell a colder story. Love is wiring. It's not decoration on top of a nervous system. It's the thing that builds the nervous system in the first place. Every time you've craved a hug you couldn't explain, every time comfort mattered more than logic, that's not weakness. That's a 70-year-old experiment still running quietly inside every one of us, in a body that has never once mistaken warmth for a bonus.